Alright, we're going to do constant of proportionality, but with graphs this time. So make sure you set up for warm-up. And then also we're going to write some stuff down underneath the warm-up talking about proportionality and graphs. And we're on page 47. Alright, your warm-up. It says find the constant of proportionality for each table. So we practiced this just the other day of doing y divided by x. So remember, you're going to do your y value divided by your x value, and each one of them has to be the same to have a constant of proportionality. And then you're going to check your constants in the spreadsheet. Alright, your learning goal: determine the constant of proportionality using a graph, and determine the constant of proportionality in an equation and explain what the relationship means. And then we want to describe what the constant of proportionality represents in a given situation. Alright, so we're going to write all of this down. Let me show you where you're going to write it down. You should be right here in your notebook. Should be right here in your notebook, because we want to write down what proportionality looks like in a graph. So, 3 things. First thing, the line must be straight, and we call that linear. That is a linear. So this line right here, this line, it is straight, and we call it linear. The second thing we need to look for a proportional graph, the second thing, is it must pass through the origin. Through the origin, that is the center of the graph. So here's my origin, and this graph does pass through the center. The third thing, my equation is in the form of y equals k times x. So here's my equation. Y equals 2x. You were writing those just the other day, okay? So those 3 things, look for those, and if you have them, then you have a proportional graph. Alright, so what I want you to do is take that information that I just gave you, and I want you to tell me, and please make sure you're looking at your note page, these 6 graphs, tell me if they are proportional or non-proportional, and you can abbreviate. So on each one, you can either put P for proportional or NP for non-proportional. After you get all 6 of those labeled, please make sure you raise your hand so that I can come by and check your work. Alright, so back to our learning goals. So let's look at some graphs and determine the constant of proportionality, and then talk about what that constant is representing. Okay, example A. It says the height of the water as a pool is being filled is shown in the graph. Determine the rate in inches per minute. Alright, so what we want to do is make sure, of course, we've got points on our graph. So we want to make sure we can see those dots. The next thing is we have to figure out, well, what is that point? So this first one, this first point, its x value is 5, and its y value is 2. So we have the point 5, 2. Now what I want you to do in your notes is draw me a table so we can put those values in the table. So draw this table for me, please, in your notes. So the first point we have is 5, 2. Now we want to find the constant of proportionality with that. So we want to do y divided by x. Well, my y is 2, my x is 5. And then I want to ask myself, can I simplify that fraction? No, I can't, so let's keep going. Next point, it is 10, if I keep going over, 10 comma 4. Okay, so in my table that I drew, my x is 10, my y is 4. Okay, so y divided by x. Okay, and then can I simplify this? Of course I can. I can divide them both by 2. And that gives me 2/5 again. Whoops. 2/5. So far, it's looking like my constant of proportionality is 2/5. Let's check this. Let's check the last 2 points. Okay, so this is 15, comma 6. So 15 and 6. And I want to do my y divided by x. Okay, and then simplify it. Let's see here, I can divide both of these by 3. And that leaves me with 2/5, okay? So I've checked 3 of them. I'm pretty certain that my constant of proportionality is 2/5. And yes, it can be a fraction, that's okay. So let's write down our equation. Our equation is y equals 2/5 x. Okay, example B. Same thing. Remember, I want you to have this table in your notes. Draw it somewhere, please. Okay, let's put dots on our graph. Remember, it's where all 3 lines intersect. So there's a dot that can go here and one here. Okay, and what I'm noticing is it is a proportional relationship because I've got this straight line and it goes through the origin. Okay, so let's find the constant of proportionality. Let's find the constant of proportionality so we can also write our equation. Okay, this first point, it is at 2 comma. All right, I got to figure out what this table is going by. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of work. I got to figure out what is right in between 144 and 72, or what the table is going by, because it looks like the table looks like it's skipping. Okay, so between 0 and 72, that's going to help me. So I just want to find half of 72. Okay, so it looks like my pattern is it's going by 36. So then to find this point, I'm just going to do 72 plus 36. So I'm just doing a little extra work so I know what this point is. Okay, because my pattern is going by 36 on the graph. Okay, so 2 comma 108. All right, so my x is 2, my y is 108. Okay, now let's do y divided by x. So 108, my y divided by my x. Okay, now that's an improper fraction, so I'm going to typo it, because this looks like it's going to give me a whole number. Okay, 2 can't go into 1, 2 can go into 10 5 times. Okay, and then 2 can go into 8 4 times. Okay, so let's check the next point. And it's got to be 54 for it to work out. Okay, so it is 4 comma 216. Okay, so 4 and 216. So I want to find my constant of proportionality, make sure I'm getting 54 again. So my y value, which is 216, divided by my x value, which is 4. Okay, because I have an improper fraction, I'm going to typo again. Alright, 4 cannot go into 2, but 4 can go into 21 5 times. That gives me 20. Alright, 4 can go into 16 4 times. Alright, we've got our constant of proportionality. So our constant is 54, and then we want to write our equation for the graph. It is y equals my constant of proportionality times x. Okay, example C, same thing. First thing I need on my graph, we need to put some points. Okay. And we'll only do a couple of the points, but we want to make sure that we're getting the same constant of proportionality. So, let's see here. The first point is 4 comma 40. Okay, so let's write it in here. My x is 4, my y is 40. Okay, we want to do y divided by x. So 40 divided by 4. Okay, you should be able to do this in your head. 40 divided by 4. 40 divided by 4 is going to give me 10. Okay, let's do another point. Let's see here. It's 8 comma 80. Okay, so let's plug in our x and our y. Okay, to find our constant, we got to do y divided by x. So 80 divided by 8. Again, this is a pretty easy one. 80 divided by 8 is going to give me 10. So my constant of proportionality is going to be 10. And then let's write our equation. Y equals 10x. Alright, last example. This one's a little bit different, so let's read it first. It says Julio earns $50 for 5 hours of work. This equation represents his hourly pay, so the equation is y equals 10x. Find the constant of proportionality k and explain what it means in this situation. Alright, so they're telling me he gets $50 for 5 hours. And here's the equation. So in the base equation, it is y equals kx. Well, here's my k. My constant of proportionality is 10. And the 10 tells me what he's going to make each hour. So the constant represents, let's see, Julio's hourly rate. Or, you know, we can say it as, it's how much Julio makes each hour. Alright, and you're done. Okay, last thing. Go to your Got It page. You've got 6 problems. Make sure that you're checking your answers in the spreadsheet. And then for the explanation for 5 and 6, I will check those on my own.